Here's what just happened, and here's why people are so confused. A lot of channels throw out one giant claim and make it sound like the Supreme Court flipped one switch. That is not how this works. The modern gun law fight came in stages. First, the Supreme Court had a narrow 5-4 ruling in Heller back in 2008. That case said the Second Amendment protects an individual right to have a gun for lawful purposes like self-defense in the home. Then came another narrow 5-4 ruling in McDonald in 2010. That one made that right apply against state and local governments too. And then years later, Bruen hit in 2022 with a 6-3 ruling. That case said states like New York could not force regular law-abiding people to prove some special need just to get a public carry permit. Now that sounds huge, because it was huge, but here's the crazy part. A lot of gun owners heard Bruen and thought, great, if I get a permit, I'm good almost everywhere. That is the part that shocked me, because that is not what the court said. The court did not say every gun law is dead. It did not say permits no longer matter. It did not say states cannot set any rules. What it really did was kill off the old may issue system in places where officials could deny you unless they thought your reason was special enough. Let me break this down for you. Before Bruen, in some states, two people could apply for the same permit. One could get approved and the other could get denied, even if both were law-abiding. Why? Because one officer or one judge thought one person had a proper cause. Location bans. So the real danger to permit holders today is not just whether you can get a permit. It's whether you think that permit gives you a green light everywhere you go. Imagine this. You finally get your concealed carry permit after waiting months. You feel relief, you put your handgun on, get in your truck, drive to the grocery store, grab lunch, stop for gas, and then meet your family at a public event. In your mind, you followed the law all day. But in the real world, one stop on that trip might be legal, one might depend on state rules, one might depend on posted signs, and one might be flat out banned. Same person, same gun, same permit, different legal result. That is why this topic matters so much. Most people think the fight is about getting the permit. The truth is that for many permit holders, the bigger fight starts after you get it. Here's the part nobody's talking about enough. Even after Bruen, the Supreme Court has made clear that the Second Amendment is not unlimited. If somebody tells you every restriction is gone, do not believe them. The court said that in Heller, and it said it again in later cases. And in Rahimi in 2024, the court upheld a federal law that lets the government temporarily disarm a person who has been Now, let's talk about why permit holders are the ones taking the hardest hit from all this confusion. If you do not have a permit, you usually know you need to be careful. But when you do have one, you feel protected. You feel like you did your part. You passed the background check. You paid the fee. You took the class. You waited. You followed the process. So your brain starts telling you, I'm covered. That false confidence is where good people get burned. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this. Say you live in a state with a normal permit process. You can carry in many public places, but not all. One weekend, you drive into another state to visit family. You assume your permit works there too. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Maybe that state honors your permit, but bans carry in places your home state allows. Maybe it requires you to tell police right away during a traffic stop. Maybe your home state does not require that, so you stay silent, thinking you are fine. That one mistake could turn a routine stop into a criminal charge. Most people think reciprocity means full protection. The truth is, reciprocity often means limited recognition, not total legal safety. Your permit may be valid there, but your habits may not be, and that difference can be the whole case. Now, quick legal note, this is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation. Let me give you another real-world way this goes wrong. Picture a permit holder walking into a restaurant attached to a bar. In one state, maybe lawful. In another, restricted. In another, legal only if you do not drink. In another, banned by a posted sign. And if that restaurant sits on private property open to the public, the rule may get even more complicated depending on the state and on how courts apply Bruen going forward. That is why headline law and actual law are two different things. And here's what most people get wrong about Bruen. They think Bruen erased permit systems. It did not. The court strongly suggested that shall-issue systems can still be okay. In simple terms, that means states can still require permits if the rules are based on clear standards instead of a government official's personal opinion. So if you hear somebody say, the Supreme Court made permits unconstitutional, that is not what happened. What the court attacked was wide open discretion, not every permit rule on earth. Now, this is where it gets really important for your daily life. You need to separate three questions. Number one, can you legally own the firearm? Number two, can you legally carry it in your state? Number three, can you legally carry it in that exact place, on that exact day, under those exact conditions? A lot of people only ask the first two. The third one is where the trap is hiding. When I found out how many permit holders ignore that third question, I couldn't believe it. Because that third question covers the parking lot, the school pickup line, the posted business entrance, the city festival, the government office, the sports venue, the state border, and the traffic stop. That is where regular people make regular decisions and suddenly face very serious consequences. Hey, 73% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. Don't be part of that group. Join the gun owners who want straight answers before the next rule change drops. Click subscribe. So what should you do right now if you have a permit or plan to get one? First, stop thinking of your permit like a magic shield. It is not. It is more like a driver's license with weird local rules attached. It helps, but it does not erase every restriction. Second, check your state's list of prohibited locations. Not a meme, not a forum comment, the actual state source. Third, if you travel, check reciprocity before you leave and then check carry location rules in the state you're entering. Fourth, learn the police notification rule where you live and where you travel. Fifth, pay attention to private property signs and default rules. Here's the part that really separates smart permit holders from careless ones. Smart permit holders build a routine. Before they enter a place, they ask, is this a school zone, a government building, a posted business, or a private property situation with special rules? That takes 5 seconds. And those 5 seconds can save you thousands of dollars in legal fees, loss of your permit, loss of your gun rights, or even jail time. Let me say something else that needs to be said. You can be pro-Second Amendment and still be brutally honest about legal risk. In fact, you have to be, because the law does not care how strongly you feel. It cares where you stood, what sign was posted, what state line you crossed, what statute applied, and whether a judge thinks the facts fit the law. And don't make this mistake either. Do not assume that because one law is being challenged in court, it is already gone. I see people do this all the time. They hear that law is getting sued, and they act like the law vanished that same morning. No. Until a court blocks it, changes it, or the state repeals it, you may still have to follow it. That is a huge deal right now because the courts are still sorting out how far states can go after Bruen. Some restrictions have been blocked, some have survived, some are still being fought over. That means the map is moving under your feet. And that brings us to the biggest takeaway of this whole video. The real overhaul is not just who gets a permit, it is what the permit actually lets you do once you have it. That is why permit holders feel the impact instantly. The moment you step outside your house, your legal world becomes a patchwork. Street legal, store, maybe not. Parking lot, maybe. School, no. Government building, no. Next state, whole new rulebook. This information could change again before the Supreme Court's next major carry ruling drops. Subscribe now, because the next video will walk you through the exact checklist to use before carrying into any business, public event, or out-of-state stop. So here's the bottom line. The narrow Supreme Court rulings that built modern gun rights changed the battlefield, and Bruen changed public carry in a major way. But your permit is not a free pass, and the people who